Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our channel, The Journey Within with Christopher Mack. I'm Wanda Webster. I'm here helping facilitate as we're still in sort of a social lockdown here in the Los Angeles area. Our last video, we were talking about choice and what it is. Christopher, you were funny about that. Go ahead.
I started to get, I was really inspired. I do want people to comment on what they feel choice is. But I was thinking about choice, and I was thinking about how many times have we created an image of ourselves, and that image it precedes any choice that we would make. For instance, if when I was a kid and I was a gymnast, there was every year at the same time, gymnastics would be in the morning, and then when we start competing, it would be in the evening. But because I was a gymnast, my choices centered around my activity as a gymnast. It's just like people who are involved in certain cliques or that hang out with the same person all the time. The choice now becomes a part of the activity or the image. And that was what I was thinking about. I said, how many times do we think we have choice, but yet we have activities and we have imaginations of who we think we are or who we want people to think we are, start to interfere and start to bolster the choices that we make or don't make. Because sometimes we think we're choosing and we're not really choosing. And so when I was thinking about choice, I was also thinking about that the time that I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, that when I walked out of a meeting and I didn't have a thought and I couldn't find anything to think about. and I actually was there looking for something to think about. And you say, well, what does that have to do with choice, Christopher? I said, because choice becomes more than one option. Now I had option because I could now think about anything I wanted to think about. But the only thing I could think about was I had no thought. And so choice is a very, very interesting subject because, like I said, it's always interesting that people would tell somebody else, you got choice. You can do this choice. And I said, wow, really? How can you do choices when you have these imaginations? You have these images of yourself.
Well, and also the obsessive compulsive thoughts, right?
Well, sometimes that can get in the way, but sometimes it's not even an obsession. It's just the way that, just say you grow up in a house that had traditions. And so when something comes up and you need to make a decision, you might make it based upon those traditions and not realizing that you have a chance to choose something, but you start to cut down the option because the traditions start to say, well, they did it this way. I'm going to do it that way because that's the way my mama did it. That's the way her mama did it. That's the way on and on and on. And so then where does choice come? But this actually becomes a way of living. This actually becomes something that you're not aware of because you never stop to think about what it is that you want to do. What do I want to do? How do I want to do this? I can't remember. I can't remember choosing to be an addict or to be addicted. Can't remember choosing that. But I remember doing it because in it I felt liberated in one sense, but I also became enslaved in another sense. So that was kind of like a poor choice for freedom, especially when, you know, when it started, you know, my urges started to dictate to me, you know, whether or not I was going to go to work, whether or not I was going to engage, you know, in healthy social activities, you know. So when we talk about choice, it kind of like always bugged me that when people would say, oh, they just choose to do that. Well, looking deeper, you know, sometimes people were out there hurting, in pain, not really choosing, but not knowing what to choose or how to choose. And you cannot choose until, you know, the glass is empty.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Can't choose until the glass is empty. If the glass is filled with the substance, I always like to used to do that. I said, well, which one is more beneficial, the empty glass or the full glass? Some people would try to, you know, and I say, and this is about choice. And I say, which one is more beneficial, or which one is more useful? Of course, the empty glass, because you can put in the empty glass anything you want to. The glass that's full, you have to pour it out, and then essentially it still becomes the
Mhm.
empty glass.
Yeah, I remember some people in the groups are trying to be very clever and arguing with you on that one.
I
That,
like, yeah, I like that,
yeah.
but you understand. So with a full glass, there's no options. With an empty glass, there's all kinds of options. So um, I was thinking about choice. You know, how do we start to learn a healthy? We have to have a healthy mechanism for choosing, and sometimes we have to just take that pause and realize what the benefits is of what I'm choosing. Is this beneficial for me? Is it going to help me out? Sometimes we're impulsive. We're reactive. We are just, you know, reacting and not really choosing. We just reacting to something. Oh, I got to get something. I got to put something in the box, you know. So uh, when we start to realize that, wait a minute, let me stop and see what would be the best outcome for what I'm fixing to pick, what I'm fixing to choose. You know, I'm no longer running on impulse, obsessive compulsive disorders. I'm not running. I get a chance to sit back and say, wow, is this something that I really want? Is this something that's going to benefit me? I know I did that with Wanda. That was one of the best days of my life, to ask that question. And you said, what am I going to get out of this? I had to find out. I said,
At the
what?
beginning of our relationship.
Yeah, that was a big choice, you know. And I was, and we've been in this relationship for 10 years and going on 10 years. And if I ever thought about what choice looked like, it was the best choice,
Mhm.
because uh, looking at everything that was told to me on that, in that question, same kind of mind that came to me when I was out there on April 2000. You're not going to see one day in the state penitentiary, which I didn't. Same type of thought came, but this didn't say that. What it said to me and that says you're going to get spiritual growth and spiritual development. I didn't realize that pausing to say, what am I going to get out of this? You know, because I thought I had a philosophy about relationships. I didn't have a experience or a understanding of a committed relationship that would be healthy and wholesome. Wholesome because we get a chance to communicate and work problems out together. But when I made that choice to ask the question. The question came, what am I going to get out of this? I had to know. And like I said, looking back on 10 years, it was the best choice that I made because I took pause to ask. Because I could have said, no thanks. My philosophy is good enough for me. But my philosophy was only based upon my imaginations.
Yeah. So our book is a lot about the question. There's power in the question. But we'll wrap up today. That's going to be another video when we really go into how important the question is and what kind of questions you're asking. Anything you want to wrap up with, Christopher?
Sometimes it's better to ask the question when it involves choosing something than it is to just be impulsive. And once again, I always like to invite people to examine their own life because it's up to you to examine your life, find what you want to find in it, and know that, you might be the light at the end of your own tunnel. That's a possibility.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.